The amp was still glowing. The strings were still vibrating. But Ace Frehley stopped playing. He killed the note. And that dead note silenced everyone in the room. Electric Recording Studios, Los Angeles, March 1978. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The kind of dead hour when most musicians are still sleeping off the night before, but the serious ones are already working. Ace Frehley sat alone in Studio C with his Les Paul, an old Marshall stack, and a reputation he never asked for. The studio manager had booked him for a session. Some producer needed guitar work on a track that wasn't going anywhere. Standard stuff. Ace had done 100 of these. Show up. Plug in. Play what they need. Leave. But today felt different. The producer, a man named Mitchell Crane who'd worked with some of the biggest names in rock and had the ego to prove it, stood in the control room behind the glass, arms crossed, watching Ace set up his rig with visible impatience. "Is he always this slow?" Mitchell asked the engineer, loud enough that the intercom caught it. The engineer, a kid maybe 23 years old named Danny, glanced nervously between the control room and the studio floor. "I don't know, man. First time working with him." "Well, tell him we don't have all day. I need 3 takes, maybe 4 if he can't nail it. Should take 20 minutes max." Danny pressed the talkback button. Ace? We're ready when you are." Ace didn't look up. He was adjusting something on his pedal board, that careful, methodical way musicians have when they're not just tuning equipment, but buying time. Thinking. "Copy," Ace said quietly. "Give me 2 minutes." Mitchell exhaled hard, shaking his head. "Showman," he muttered. "That's all these guys are. Put them in front of 10,000 people and they're gods. Put them in a studio and they're lost." Danny said nothing. He'd heard stories about Ace Frehley. Most people had. The Space Ace. Kiss. The makeup. The pyrotechnics. The sold-out arenas. But Danny had also heard other stories. Quieter ones. About Ace in small clubs before Kiss got big. About sessions where Ace would walk in, barely speak, play something that made producers cry, and leave before anyone could thank him properly. Danny wasn't sure which version of Ace Frehley was sitting in Studio C right now. "Okay." Ace's voice came through the intercom. "I'm ready." "What do you need?" Mitchell leaned into the microphone. "It's a straightforward track. Bridge section needs weight. I'm thinking sustained power chords, maybe a minor key run up into the chorus. Can you handle that?" There was a pause. Long enough that Mitchell glanced at Danny with a look that said, "See?" "Yeah," Ace said finally. "I can handle that." "Great. Let's do a take." The track started. Drums first. Then bass. A typical late 70s rock progression, nothing groundbreaking, nothing terrible. Just functional. Ace came in exactly where he was supposed to. Power chords. Clean. Strong. The kind of playing that sounded easy but required years of discipline to make sound effortless. Mitchell listened with his arms still crossed. Nodding slightly. Professional appreciation but nothing more. The bridge approached. Ace's moment to add something. To fill the space. He played a sustained note. One long, ringing tone that cut through the mix like a knife. Not flashy. Not fast. Just there. Undeniable. And then, 3 seconds before the note should have resolved into the chorus, Ace stopped playing. Not a fade. Not a gentle release. He lifted his hands from the guitar. The note died, cut off abruptly, leaving a hole in the music where something should have been. Ace didn't defend himself. He never did. Mitchell's head snapped up. "What the hell was that?" Danny looked at the meters, confused. "Did we lose signal?" "No, he just stopped." Mitchell hit the talkback button. "Ace. What happened?" "You dropped out." Through the glass, Ace sat motionless. Guitar still in his lap. Looking down at the fretboard like he was reading something written there that no one else could see. "I didn't drop out," Ace said quietly. I stopped. Why? Because the note was wrong. Mitchell's jaw tightened. The note was fine. It was exactly what I asked for. It was what you asked for. Ace agreed. But it was still wrong. Danny felt the temperature in the control room drop. He'd worked enough sessions to know when a confrontation was building. Producers didn't like being told they were wrong. Especially not by session players. Even famous ones. Mitchell leaned forward. Let me be clear about something, Ace. I hired you to play what I tell you to play. Not to rewrite my track. If I wanted your creative input, I would have asked for it. Ace said nothing. Just sat there, hands resting on the guitar, waiting. So let's try that again. Mitchell continued, his voice tight with controlled anger. Same section. Same note. And this time, finish it. Okay, Ace said. But it's still going to be wrong. That's not your decision to make. The track started again. Same progression. Same build. Ace played the same power chords, came to the same moment, hit the same sustained note. And 3 seconds before the chorus, he stopped playing again. This time Mitchell slammed his hand on the console. What the fuck, Ace? Are you trying to sabotage this session? Danny jumped. The needles on the board spiked from the impact. Ace looked up at the control room window. His face was calm. No anger. No defensiveness. Just that quiet certainty that people who worked with him either loved or couldn't stand. You want me to play a note that kills the song? Ace said. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't kill the song. It's a fucking power chord. It's the wrong power chord. In the wrong place. At the wrong time. Mitchell stood up from his chair. You know what? I've worked with real musicians. I've worked with Page. I've worked with Beck. None of them gave me this prima donna bullshit about wrong notes. They played what I needed and they made it work because they're professionals. Ace nodded slowly. Then call one of them. The room went silent. Danny stared at the console, pretending to adjust levels that didn't need adjusting, desperately wishing he was anywhere else. Mitchell's face was red. You're seriously walking out on this session because I won't let you rewrite my track? I'm not walking out, Ace said. I'm sitting right here. You're the one who has to decide what happens next. Away from the spotlight, Ace made a choice no one expected. Mitchell stared through the glass for a long moment. Then he turned to Danny. How long do we have this room booked? Until 6, Danny said quietly. Fine. Mitchell grabbed his jacket from the back of his chair. I'm going to get coffee. When I come back, either Ace plays it right or I'm calling someone else. Your choice, Space Ace. He left. The door slammed. Danny sat alone in the control room, looking at Ace through the glass. The guitarist hadn't moved. Just sitting there with his Les Paul, waiting. Danny pressed the talkback button hesitantly. Ace? Yeah. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why won't you just play it? I mean, it's not a bad note. It's just a note. Ace looked up at him. Even through the glass, even with the distance, Danny felt the weight of that look. Come out here, Ace said. Danny blinked. What? Come out to the studio floor. Bring your headphones. Danny hesitated, then stood and walked through the door that connected the control room to the studio. He'd never been on the other side during a session before. It felt strange. Bigger. More exposed. Ace gestured to the stool beside him. Sit. Danny sat. Ace didn't say anything for a moment. Just played a quiet progression on his guitar. The same chords from the track. Then he stopped. You hear that? Ace asked. Yeah. Sounds good. Now listen to this. Ace played the progression again, but this time when he got to the bridge, instead of the sustained power chord Mitchell wanted, he played something different. A minor third. A slight variation. Barely noticeable. But the whole feeling changed. Danny felt it immediately. The way the tension built. The way the chorus that came after felt earned instead of inevitable. "You feel the difference?" Ace asked. "Yeah," Danny said quietly. It's better." "It's not better," Ace corrected. "It's right. Mitchell's note is fine. It works. It's professional. But it's safe. And safe notes don't make people remember songs 30 years later." He set the guitar down carefully, resting it against the amp. "When I was starting out," Ace continued, his voice low and steady, "I played what people told me to play. Every time. I thought that's what being professional meant. Do what you're hired for. Don't make waves. Don't question people who know more than you." He paused, looking at the guitar. "Then one day I was in a session, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, and the producer asked me to play something that I knew was wrong. Not bad. Just wrong. And I played it anyway because I thought that's what I was supposed to do." Danny waited. "The record came out," Ace said. "Did okay. Made some money. And every time I heard it on the radio, that wrong note was there. Reminding me that I knew better and I didn't speak up." He looked at Danny directly. "I decided that day that I would never do that again. If someone hires me and I know the note is wrong, I'll tell them. They can fire me. They can call someone else. That's their choice. But I won't play something I know is wrong just because it's easier. Subscribe and leave a comment, because some moments only make sense when we remember them together." Mitchell came back 40 minutes later. No coffee. Just calmer. He walked into the control room, saw Danny sitting at the console, and looked through the glass at Ace, who was exactly where they'd left him. Mitchell pressed the talkback. "Ace. Yeah. Play me what you think it should be." Ace picked up his guitar. "You sure?" "No. But play it anyway." The track started again. Same drums. Same bass. Same build to the bridge. Ace came in with his version. That minor third. That slight variation that changed everything. When the chorus hit, it didn't just arrive. It landed. Like something inevitable that you didn't see coming. Mitchell listened to the whole thing in silence. When it finished, he sat back in his chair and rubbed his face with both hands. "Danny," he said finally. "Yeah? Make sure we got that take." "We got it." "Good." Mitchell pressed the talkback again. "Ace. You were right." Through the glass, Ace just nodded once. Not triumph. Not vindication. Just acknowledgement. What followed silenced everyone in the room. The session continued for another 2 hours. Ace played 3 more sections. Each time, Mitchell asked for his input. Each time, Ace gave it, quietly, without fanfare, just showing what he meant instead of explaining it. By the time they wrapped, the track had transformed. Still recognizable. Still Mitchell's vision. But deeper. Richer. The kind of song that would make people turn up the radio instead of reaching for the dial. As Ace packed his guitar, Mitchell came out of the control room. "I owe you an apology," Mitchell said. Ace shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. You hired me to make your track better. That's what happened. Most session guys would have just played what I asked and collected the check. I'm not most session guys." Ace closed his guitar case and stood. "But you already knew that when you called me." Mitchell smiled slightly. "Yeah. I did." Ace walked to the door, then stopped. "Mitchell. That note I killed? Keep it in the final mix." "What? The dead note?" "Yeah. Right before the chorus. Leave the silence. It'll make people lean in." Share and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be remembered. The song was released 6 months later. It became a hit. And in every interview, when people asked Mitchell about the bridge section, about that strange moment of silence before the chorus, he told them the same story. About the day Ace Frehley refused to play the wrong note. About the moment he learned that real power isn't about playing louder. It's about knowing when to let the note die.